You know, 2 minutes and 8 seconds left right here. Now Jefferson's going to say, "When we're obviously we can't play. Here we're seeing a replay of that almost goal for Jefferson, number 17, Todd Susan staying in there, looking for that loose puck and trying to get Jefferson somewhat back in the game.
Tchaikovsky was 7-1 during the regular season. He got a chance to play because Steve Peters underwent arthroscopic surgery. Here's Lavin hitting the side of the net as Jefferson puts on some pressure. Lavin, Susan, and John Grafstrom. Susan drops it to the point. Here comes the big shot from Nelson. That's blocked. Nelson another shot, and Tchaikovsky had a beat on that one.
Yes, he sure did. Give a lot of credit to Randy Roberts, number 12, doing something that all defensemen should do, regardless of the level you're playing, is move that person aside so that goalkeeper can begin to look at the puck. He established himself, prevented that Jefferson forward to getting in front of the net, and something that the coaches love, scouts love. Sometimes the fans, miss that type of thing.
From the face-off, puck cleared out to center. There's 1 minute 40 seconds left in the second period. 3 goals by Bemidji in the period give them a 5-1 lead. Jefferson knocks it down deep in the zone. A couple of years ago when Roseau won their overtime game in the Consolation final, I think they were down by about 3 or 4 at this point in the game, but exploded in the third. Jefferson hasn't shown signs of doing it yet, but they can turn it around. Here they come. Todd Heil with it. He fires it in on Tchaikovsky. Now John Yetter back to get it. He's lost it in his skates. Yetter takes a hit. In forechecking is Flameng and Satterdalen, and they hold it for a face-off. There's a break in the action. We'll be right back with the Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament. Face off to the left of Corey Tchaikovsky. Do you see Jefferson coming on a bit here?
Well, they'd like to get something right now in the last minute play. That would really help them go in that third period, Chris.
Under a minute to go in the second period. And Jefferson could sure use a goal. They move it in. Satterdalen goes after it with Bianchi. Satterdalen has his man tied up, and there's Bianchi right in the middle of things.
It's interesting. Brian Graham, the Bemidji coach, took off his top line of Stour, Meyer, and Plawa, and he wanted to finish with Roberts, Matthews, and Aiken. Just more of a checking line against the very fine line of Flameng, Satterdalen, and Bianchi out there. So it's a little matchup. He could have stayed with Lavin and, with Myers and Plawa and Sauer and maybe gone for another goal. He says, well, we got enough goals to win. We just want to get in the dressing room 4 goals up, and we'll let the third period take care of itself.
Interesting, Coach Satterdalen now has taken Bianchi off, and Todd Susan's back on the ice. So their best forward now is out in the final minute, trying to get some offense going. Puck did cross the line. We've got a delayed offside, but Bemidji is able to bring it out to center ice. And here come the Lumberjacks in over the line. That was broken up, and it's cleared outside the blue line. Tony Baker clears it back in. Hansen out of the goal with 27 seconds to go. Gengler with it, dangerously near the front of his net, but he's able to get it out to center. It's Baker on the right side, and we've got a delayed offside as Roberts knocked it in with players trapped inside the line.
And Jefferson's having a hard time really getting on a roll here. And sometimes, all of a sudden, a big hit right in front of your bench, it takes a little wind out of you. And when Robbie Aiken hit, Tommy Peterson there, somewhat in the neutral zone towards their bench, that just takes the wind out of his sail as much as a goal, that can be scored against you.
14 seconds left in the second period. Peterson flips it in. That's Fossen. Fossen out at center. Gengler intercepted that pass. Now Bemidji up with it. It's Fossen on a rush late in the period, but he is cut off at the pass. And it was a big period for Bemidji as it comes to a close with the Lumberjacks leading by a 5-1 count. Their only tournament trophy came back in the 1974 final when they were shut out by Edina. They settled for second place, but right now they're in the driver's seat as they have a 5-1 lead headed to the third period in the Consolation final.
Yes,
now,
right. Excuse me, go ahead, Chris.
Just going to throw it down the sports control. Herb, we'll get your comments before the third.
Okay.
Thanks, guys. 5-1. Looks like, Ralph, we're going to have our first rout. We've got another period to go, but the first rout of the tournament. It's amazing we've gone this far without a lopsided game like this.
Herb and Chris have been commenting that Jefferson just can't get it going, and you just really don't know how teams are going to react in consolation play. And maybe in between the next period, where you can ask Herbie just what it means to teams when they're in their consolation bracket, because I know for Bemidji, they may just say, look, you know, people are saying we might be out of a little bit of a weak section, Section 8. We have something to prove here in consolation play, but we'll get more to that later. Let's go down to Tony, see if he's on the ice or up in the rafters.
Where are you, Tony?
Well, we're halfway up the rafters, and we're talking to some outstanding hockey players from Hibbing. I think I'm going to have to ask them to stand. You guys get up. Look at these guys. Is this beautiful? Let me find out who they are. What's your name?
Ronnie Hill.
You play hockey?
Yeah.
Who for?
Hibbing.
Hibbing. What are you, midgets? Mite? What are you?
Pee-wee.
Pee-wee. Okay, Pee-wee. What's your name?
Scott Lindstrom.
Scott, get over here. Look at that face. Isn't that beautiful? You're a hockey. How long have you been playing hockey?
What?
How long have you been playing hockey?
6 years.
6 years. How old are you?
12.
Okay, all right. Get a mouth guard. Those teeth are too beautiful to get them knocked out. What's your name?
Eric Gustafson,
How old are you?
13,
13. How long have you been playing hockey?
7 years.
How tall are you?
4'9".
You better start eating some Wheaties. Who we got back here? What's your name?
Jeff Sundvik,
And how long have you been playing?
5 years.
5. How about you?
Whaler Bitters,
Okay. And how long have you been playing?
long time. I don't know.
What's your school record? What's your team record? Can you tell me?
14 and 6.
Is that a good year for you?
Yeah.
Who's your favorite player? All of you shout.
Steve
Trell. Steve and Doug Trell.
Never heard of them, but that's the favorites. That's
Tony,
the
I want to
Hibbing
ask you,
Mites.
Tony, what's your age and how long have you been playing hockey?
Can't read you. The band started.
You wouldn't tell us anyway. Thanks.
He's 25. He's been playing hockey for 6 years.
26 years.
Live from the St. Paul Civic Center, continuing coverage of the 1986 Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament. Between the second and third periods here, we have Bemidji with a 5-1 lead over Bloomington Jefferson, and we'll take a look at the highlights. And persistency, Tom, I think would best typify what's been going on as far as the Bemidji Lumberjacks. They were very persistent, hawking all over here, getting their third goal. Number 19, David Smith, walks right around the goal and stuffs it in for a 3-1 Bemidji lead.
Short time later, John Yetter set this one up to George Palava in all alone, and we stopped on his first attempt, but the backhand on the rebound goes in. George's third goal of the tournament. We'll take another look. What a horrifying sight, I imagine, for Bob Hansen to look up and see George Palava alone with the puck. He stops him on the first attempt, but the backhand puts it in, and Bemidji had a 4-1 lead.
So the Palava show continues. Then at 8:47, about a minute and a half later, number 17, Gary Matthews, skated in and blasted a bullet from way out. That is was pointed out really a major league shot. He's 6'3", 205, and as a junior, that made the score 5-1. That's where we are right now. Bemidji's Lumberjacks leading Jefferson after 2 periods of play. How about the saves, Tom?
Saves in the second period. Bob Hansen of Jefferson had 7, and the combination of Steve Peters, who played half of the second period, and Corey Tchaikovsky the other half, they combined for 12 saves.
Okay, so 1 period to go.
That's right.
And this is continuing coverage of the 1986 Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament. Everyone who has watched hockey has admired the speed and agility of the players. And here's Steve Doyle now with a look at those unique abilities.
It's a sport of he-men, of that there's no doubt. Of cross-checks and forechecks, grown men thrown about. It's the last place you'd look for a ballet so nice. But slow it all down, it's Swan Lake on ice. Across the wide stage, the choreography takes place. The dancers are ready. It shows on each face. They pirouette, they tumble, and employ sleight of hand. A wrist shot, a slap shot, the goalie withstand. While off in the wings, more dancers await for a 2-on-2 or a pas de deux and waltz with their mate. Their movements so nimble in toe shoes of leather, Baryshnikov on ice skates could never look better. A building crescendo, the finale so near. He dekes him and fakes him. The fans start to cheer. The ballet is finished. For the players, an encore, with high fives and headbutts to honor the score.
Ballet on ice. Somehow I can't imagine, though, George Palava in tights. Well, anyway, this is the 4th year that WCCO has covered the state high school hockey tournament. Over 100 people are involved in getting this entire thing together, and here is an example of some of the preparation we do.
Have you ever wondered about the technological wizardry of broadcasting the hockey tournament? For example, how do these pictures of the players automatically appear after each goal? Well, it all begins behind the scenes at the Civic Center before a game is even played. Once a team makes it into the tournament, the players are assigned a time when they must appear on camera. Today, it's Bemiji's turn to be in the limelight. No talking required here, boys. Just smile and say cheese. Meanwhile, back at WCCO TV, one of the graphic artists, Roman Gomez, has been given the task of creating a newer, slicker background for this year's player pictures. He's been told that it should look like ice.
Went to get myself a cup of coffee, and just as I opened up the package, it occurred to me that inside, which was a shiny tinfoil-like surface, it was the perfect ice.
Now, what does all that mean? Well, by using a videotape camera, Roman is able to record a picture of the tinfoily substance. From there, he begins working on a special graphics computer called a paint box. With a special pen and electronic palette, Roman is able to paint the tinfoil any one of 16 million color shades. A light blue washing plus some white blade streaks, and there you have it, the best-looking ice on TV. The final process of combining the background with the players' pictures and their names all happens here in the production truck. Directors and technicians work together to create the necessary special effects for each individual player in the tournament.
Say cheese, Ralph. That's how they do it, huh?
This is live continuing coverage of the 1986 Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament.
Our score after 2 periods, Bemidji 5 and Jefferson 1. And Herb and Chris, tough question. How do you score 5 goals now in 1 period against Jefferson? Or
Leave that one to you. I'll leave it to you. Thanks a lot, Tom. Actually, you don't worry about scoring 5 goals. You worry about scoring the next one. You work about number 2 and then number 3 and number 4. If you start talking about the immense task of scoring 5, it's a psychologically defeating type of a statement. So you just talk about doing the things you have to do in small increments. Get the next one, then worry about the rest and it'll come. But right now, more important, coaches are talking, especially on the losing end, about a carryover effect. How will this period carry over to the next period? How will this game carry over to the next one? How will this season carry over to the next one? That's what Satterdahl is talking about with Jefferson. They want to leave this 15-minute period in a positive way. And they want to also pay respect to their seniors. On the other side, Bemidji also wants to pay respect to the seniors that are pulling on the sweater for the last time at their particular school. So it's going to be, I'm sure, a very spirited 15 minutes.
It has to be an emotional period for especially for the seniors, because this is their last high school hockey game, and this, in all likelihood, is the last period for many, like George Palava on one side and Jeff Lavin and company on the other. So it's an important period in the consolation final, even though the score is 5-1 Bemidji. As we start period number 3, here's a chance right off the bat. They score! It's Greg Wald, and there's one of them back. It's 5-2.
That's just what we're talking about. Just do it in small increments. Get the second one, and then we'll worry about the third one. And boy, what a time to get it in the first 15 seconds of a period. Bringing them back a little bit. And more important, it sets the tone for some momentum. Little shot from the point. Weak side defense of Bemidji up too high, not looking behind them, see who they're leaving behind. There he is all alone. Now that should never happen. The defensive corps should say, we've got enough goals to win. The forwards say, we've got enough goals. Let's check very solidly and enthusiastically. Don't start looking to get the 6th goal and the 7th goal. Don't look for to get your name in the paper. Don't go for the scoring championship. Win the hockey game. And that doesn't help when you get scored upon in the first 15 seconds, despite being, you know, ahead 5-1.
Now, Greg Wald is one of the seniors we talked about playing his final high school game. And he gets assists from line mates Todd Olson and Reed Ganas, who was shaken up in the 2nd period, but has started the 3rd. And so it's 5-2, but back comes Bemidji down the ice as they streak into the zone. David Smith is hauled down. Here's a chance, and they score. It's Scott Eichstad answering right back for Bemidji.
Well, boy, that hurts Jefferson. Just when they could say, hey, maybe let's get something going, they come back and give it. But if you look at scoring stats, how many times this happened a lot, Chris?
Really has happened a lot in this tournament.
It happens a lot in the tournament, especially in this tournament, but it happens a lot in hockey. You'll see the shot come there, and it just looked like it was deflected by a Jefferson defenseman there. Came right over to number 20, Scotty Eichstad, stayed with it. Just a little flip shot. Looked like it hit the goalkeeper and just rolled in. He couldn't quite grab it. Looks like it hits number 8. The sophomore defense said, no, it didn't. I thought he hit the toe of his stick. Didn't. Fan in the first one, stayed with the thing, threw it up, just found its way home.
What a great pass by David Smith. He was down on the ice and backhanded it while sprawled on the ice to Eichstad for his 1st goal of the tournament.
Yes, that was a very good pass, as you pointed out, Chris, and that made the play.
Just 20 seconds after the Jefferson goal, Eichstad's 1st of the tournament has given Bemidji a 6-2 lead. So the 4-goal bulge has been restored. And back in come the Lumberjacks. Eichstad couldn't reach it. It's cleared out to center ice. Susan misses his man with the check, and Bemidji skates over the line. That's Eichstad again. Eichstad can't get a shot away. Drops it to Fossen. His shot scores on the deflection. And Bemidji's got their 7th goal.
They just couldn't move number 19, Davey Smith, out from there. It's a small kid, but he weighs 205. He was planted, and he wasn't going to be moved from that net. I didn't quite catch the net. Looked like Jeff Lavin was the defensive forward in front of net, staying with his man, but he can't move him. And if you can't move him, you got to tie up the stick. And he didn't tie up the darn stick, and bang, that changed direction on Robbie Hansen. That's a goal. Whether it's a defensive forward back there or a defenseman, neutralize that man. And if you can't move the body, get the stick and take that out of play. And it was a big goal last night for Hill Murray, in the same type of goal when that, I think it was Rawlick, deflected that thing. If he is there and he's planted, and if you can't jar him out of that thing, then go to his stick. And David Smith is tough in front of the net. 205, small, powerful type of a senior forward from Bemidji.
Not a bad chip for Smith. A goal and an assist within 21 seconds, and he now has 2 goals and an assist on the game. Fossen gets an assist, and we've had 3 goals in the 1st minute of this 3rd period. Now back comes Jefferson, a shot right on, and Tchaikovsky kicked that out. It's 7-2 Bemidji. And also getting an assist on that goal was Eichstad, so he had 2 points on the shift as well. So in previous games in the tournament, Bemidji got all their scoring from one line, Palava, Meyer, and Sauer, but today it's been different. The other 2 lines are really chipping in.
Yes, they've contributed an awful lot. And they've really set a pace, and you can't expect the Sauer, Meyer, and Palava line to carry them all the time. And I think that goes on. You got a little pride in there. You know that you've got to do your, you know, you got to contribute. You know that Sauer, Meyer, and Palava and the Fossens, they kill the penalties, they play in the power play. But a good hockey team has their role players, and they have the necessary depth. And Bemidji is an excellent hockey team, and they do have those type of people to fill the roles needed.
From the face-off, the puck is cleared around on the near side boards. Cleared out to center ice. And now a pass cross ice intercepted by Jefferson. The Jaguars clear it in. They have Flamang, Satterdahl, and Bianchi out. Bemidji clears it to center. Mike Gingler has the puck, clears it over to Peterson. Peterson's pass intercepted by Fossen. Fossen just shovels it down into the corner. Going after it is Gary Matthews. Matthews leaves it for Aiken. Aiken tries to come from the side. He's double teamed. Hansen's down. He tried to freeze it, but the puck came loose, and into the corner it goes. That's Matthews trying to dig it free, and now Bianchi just knocks it out to center ice. Here's Fossen winding up. He's a good skating defenseman. Ahead to Matthews. Matthews already has 1 goal. Moves in, shot. Hansen made the save. It goes into the corner, and now Jefferson will ice the puck. And this will come back into the Jefferson zone. 12:26 left in the period, and with the score, Bemidji 7, Jefferson 2. This is Hockey 86, live from the St. Paul Civic Center. .26 left in the third period of the consolation final. Bemidji Lumberjacks have been very impressive today, and they lead the Jefferson Jaguars 7-2. Got a penalty coming up right from the faceoff. It is Sauer with the shot. It was blocked, and it's going to go against the Jaguars. That's all they need. Sauer behind the net, looking to center it. And finally, it is touched by a Jefferson player, and we'll wait for the official call.
He got an elbow on the Jefferson defenseman, number 6, Jeff Nelson.
Number 6, elbow.
You know, one area that Bemidji has struggled in this tournament is on the power play. They have yet to score a power play goal, 0 for 7. So it'll be interesting to see how they operate here. I'm surprised with all that firepower that they haven't been able to collect.
Yes, and they do have some skilled people to react upon that power play. But again, you know, the penalty killers in hockey today are becoming more aggressive, and rightly so. And it's been, you know, one of the hockey stories, or hockey theories, I should say, that you just play a small conservative box, and that's gone right out the window right now, and it's adds to the game, I believe, Chris.
Here's Fossen leaving it for Sauer, moving in the shot, and that drifted high, and Jefferson is able to clear it out to center ice. 7 goals, the most allowed by Jefferson this season. Bloomington, Kennedy, and Burnsville also scored 7 against the Jefferson Jaguar team. But in case you're wondering if Jefferson's not a good hockey club, they beat Burnsville in their final regular season meeting. And Burnsville's in the championship game tonight. So this Jaguar team is just not playing up to their usual standards right now, and Bemidji is certainly playing up to theirs. Here's big Mike Gengler at center ice for Jefferson. He has a goal on the power play, now shorthanded, puts it in front, but it's knocked away by the Lumberjacks.
That's a good point, Chris, because Jefferson is a good hockey club, and they wouldn't be here. And all the teams that are here, we talked about, you know, they're the ones that should be here. They played well when they had to, and that's the all-important sectional finals. And a lot of people saw that the year of the upsets, maybe the field was down. I haven't seen it down. I haven't seen the intensity down. And I think it's been just an excellent tournament, Chris.
We talked about this before the game. Of the 3 years I've been here, I think this has been the most physical tournament. Has it been the most physical year in high school hockey?
Well, I haven't seen all of it, but I think that it has. This tournament's been physical, and I haven't heard too much talk by the coaches that the season was like that, but this tournament has.
Puck in the center ice zone, and again, Bemidji isn't really able to get this power play in gear, and they have to go back for it again. Tony Baker retreating with 35 seconds left in the Nelson penalty. Puck is shot off the boards, and Bemidji trying to set up in the center ice zone. Bemidji has been in double figures 4 times this year, including all 3 sectional games. Their highest total was 12. They've got a ways to go, and Jefferson's going to do their best to keep that total down. They tied up for a face-off deep in Jefferson territory. 16 seconds left in the penalty.
Well, I tell you, sometimes when that power play goes against you, you can get awful frustrated. It seems that the longer you work on, the more you work, the worse it gets. You should just almost walk away from the darn thing. I've had clubs that the power play is so bad, and our team get a penalty, I'd say, hey, ref, you know, we'll decline the darn thing. Let us play 5-on-5.
In fact, in Bemidji's case, they might want to put a guy in their box because they've got 4 shorthanded goals and none on the power play. Puck in their zone. And now Jefferson back at full strength, so we did not see much on the power play that time.
But you know, there's a little sidelight to this power play, Chris. We'll get back to right shortly.
Peterson clears it to the line, kept in by Yetter. Now it's Greg Wald who has scored for Jefferson in this third period to Mike Gengler. So the 2 goal scorers passing the puck between each other. Now it comes to the point. Yetter keeps it in, and now Peterson will take over. The sophomore defenseman can't get loose, but now Jefferson carries it out. They've got 3 forwards at center ice. A weak shot goes right on off the stick of Wald. Wald goes after it. Jefferson makes a line change. Wald by himself, and it's brought out by Bemidji. Here on the right side, it's George Johnson. He can't get loose, and now Todd Susan brings it in. Susan the drive right on Tchaikovsky. Todd Susan hasn't stopped skating. Number 17 for Jefferson. He steals the puck again. He sets up Laban in front, and Laban's knocked down. Good defensive play. Jefferson starting to buzz in the Bemidji zone. They feed it back to the point. Here's Condon with a shot, and he ripped that one just high of the goal. On the far side, it's Heil. He keeps it in momentarily, and now it goes out to center ice. And this is Eichstad. Eichstad's got a lot of moves. That time was checked from behind by Susan. Eichstad gets it again, and it's called on the offside. There's a break in the action. We'll be right back with the Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament.
You know, Chris, from a coaching standpoint, Brian Grand showed a lot of class there. His team's up 7-2. And who's he put on the power play? But basically his forward unit that said, listen, I'm not going to embarrass a friend of mine or a coaching colleague. And it showed a lot of class. And also it's giving him some experience for a couple of sophomores to play. And that was the little sidelight I wanted to talk about. And I'm sure Tommy Satterdahl saw that and said, hey, you know, the shoe might be on the other foot someday. I won't forget that. And thanks a lot, Brian. But as I said yesterday, Brian Grand, one of the real fine gentlemen that you want to meet in the game of hockey, showed me a little something, and I'm sure he showed all the coaches in the audience, Chris.
Mike Gengler takes a penalty for interference, so Bemidji gets another shot on the power play. There's Tom Satterdahl, who knows all about playing in Bemidji. He was once a star player at Bemidji State.
Yes, I'm sure he has a lot of fond memories up at that school. I know he loved it. I think he met his wife up there, if I'm not mistaken. But whatever, it's a tough afternoon for Coach Satterdahl. But you know, you ride the waves in this business.
Brian Grand on the other side has really handled himself well throughout the tournament. He used to be a pretty good hockey player himself for Roseau. In fact, he scored 4 goals in one tournament game.
I'll tell you, Brian Grand was a heck of a hockey player, one of the better ones ever to come out of the state. I played with him in one of the World Championships, Chris. Really a gentleman, as I mentioned yesterday, just a guy that you want to be on a team with. Just a heck of a guy.
Here comes the Bemidji power play, and they're offside, and Brian Grand has to be happy with the way his team has played, but they just haven't clicked on the power play, and it might be the reason they're in the consolation side, because they lost a tough game to Hibbing 4-3. They could have been on the other side.
There's no question. You know, the short teams, the specialty teams, I should say, the short team, the penalty killing and the power play really make the difference when you get to the playoffs, and they got one half of it going. The penalty killers have been very good. The power play is you know, struggled for them.
Certainly have the personnel as Yetter feeds it up on the wing. Palava takes his man to the boards as they pile up there. Puck comes free. And here comes Fossen. Fossen over the line. He is smooth, centering it out in front, and Hansen clears it to the point. John Yetter keeps it in. He's got a couple of assists in the game. Sets up on the other side for Fossen. Fossen clears it into the corner. Roberts tried to feed it in for Matthews, and now it comes back to Fossen. There's the shot right on goal, and Hansen makes the save. And it's held for a face-off.
Oh, it's got to be a tough last 7 minutes for Jefferson, looking at such a deficit to make up 7-2. But again, as we said at the outset of the period, you know, that carryover effect. How can we carry this over to the summer? How can we carry it over the next season? And let's pay respect to our seniors now and really work hard for them. And on the other side, Bemidji wants to do the same thing. They want to finish strong for that little carryover, and they want to say thank you to their seniors.
You know, this Jefferson team's got a good future. There's a shot. It's knocked down. 5 of their 6 defensemen dressed in the game today will return. As Bemidji putting on some pressure. There's a shot and a goal for Jason Meyer on the backhand. It's 8-2.
8-2. He walked out of the corner unmolested, make a little move. It was a big move as he walked into the low part of the slot, and again threw a backhand to the short side of Robbie Hansen. See him come out, pull it to his backhand. Nice play. Went right back to where he started from. And as I said before, that goalkeeper, it's a tough thing where he has to move laterally across the crease and open up the short side a little too fast. And this is what happened. But then you got to say Jason Meyer could think as a goalkeeper. He knew where that puck was going. Mind me of sort of Satterdahl's goal yesterday to sink South St. Paul a little bit, Chris.
That's their first power play goal of the tournament. Jason Meyer's second of the tournament. And the time of the goal, 7:50. So it's 8-2 Bemidji. And that is the highest goal output against Jefferson this year. Getting assists on the goal were George Palava and Rob Sauer. And that line has been a high-scoring outfit for Bemidji in the tournament, although not as much today. Although Palava now has 3 points. And for the tournament, that gives him 8. Palava over the line. This is Sauer breaking in. Sauer still with it. Fires. Hansen with the stop. Meyer in the goal crease. All tied up with Hansen, and they did some pushing. Sauer has it in the corner. Gives off to Meyer. Return pass. Nice give and go, but Sauer lost it at the last moment. Now Meyer sets up. This line can really buzz when they want to. Here's a shot from the point. That is blocked, and now Gangler comes out for Jefferson. A right wing pass for Bianchi was too far. And Jason Meyer turns back the other way for Bemidji. Right wing pass. Here's Palava after it. Against goaltender Hansen, who clears it around the boards. Laban is knocked away from the puck. It comes to the point. This is Roberts. Randy Roberts with the shot. It hits a leg and goes to the corner. And we've got another penalty coming up. This one will go against Bemidji as the puck slides into the center ice zone. And play is whistled down. With the score, Bemidji 8, Jefferson 2. This is Hockey 86, live from the St. Paul Civic Center.
To John Kaiser, who had 6 grand openings in 3 days, Republic Airlines awards the first-class upgrade perk.
He's earned it.
To Gary McKee, who had to laugh at the same joke 6 times, Republic awards the executive suite perk.
You've earned it.
And to Nell McCarran, who had to dress for success in 6 cities, Republic awards a free trip after only 20,000 miles.
I've earned it.
We make you feel like flying Republic Airlines.
5:55 left in the game. Tony Baker sits it off for tripping, and Jefferson will have an opportunity on the power play to get a little closer, but it's 8-2 Bemidji. Oh, they announced originally that Palava got that last goal, but it was obviously Jason Meyer, and they're now making the official correction. Palava does get an assist along with Sauer. Here's a chance. There's a shot right on goal, and Tchaikovsky just kicked it wide. Jeff Satterdahl is in the corner for Jefferson. Satterdahl hangs onto the puck, gives it to Susan, walking out in front, and that attempted pass was blocked, and now it's cleared out to center by Bemidji. Tom Peterson back, gives it to Satterdahl. Talking about returning players for Jefferson, as it's called on the offside. Satterdahl will be back next year with both of his line mates, and I'm sure that will become the #1 line for Jefferson.
Yes, I think Jefferson has 13 or 14 players returning, and they'll need them because that Lake South is really a tough conference they play in, Chris. Bemidji returning a pretty good nucleus also. 11 hockey players. You know, when you talked about sometimes you see a player and you see somebody else who's a fine young hockey player that Jefferson has, sophomore defenseman Tommy Peterson. Reminds me of a kid from Edina a few years ago, Craig Norwich, that went over to Wisconsin, played very well over there, played some, you know, pro hockey, mostly in the World Hockey Association. This Peterson looks like him. Quarterbacks the power play, skates well, handles the puck well, small stature, but the same explosiveness that Norwich had.
And he's got 2 years left. That's Peterson with the puck, number 8 in white. And I think we've got another penalty coming up to Bemidji. Hansen started out of the net and then wasn't sure, but there will be another penalty coming up to Bemidji. Jefferson will have a 2-man advantage. There's a break in the action. We'll be right back with the Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament.
In April 1986, Minnesotans will have something new to cheer about. TCF is going public.
John Yetter is off, and so for the next minute and 2 seconds, Jefferson will enjoy a 2-man advantage. A big chance for them to add to their total. It's 8-2 Bemidji, and Jefferson would like to narrow the gap. Puck is cleared outside the line. How about this? A breakaway for Jason Meyer. 2 men short, and Meyer's in. Shooting, and Hansen with a big stop. That could have been embarrassing. It also could have been the 5th shorthanded goal of the tournament for Bemidji. Well, Jefferson not utilizing their 2-man advantage very effectively right now. They have to wait till everybody gets on side, and now Mike Gangler has the puck. He'll carry it in over the line, leaves it for Susan. Susan lost control of it, and here's Palava. Starting back, he couldn't get around Peterson. Todd Susan. Palava's there. They're doing a good job. 2 men short, or is Jefferson just not playing properly on this power play?
Well, they just can't get it together, and it's been sort of like that all day, Chris.
Here's Big George moving into the zone up against Gingler. Palava still with it, and finally Hansen comes out to poke it away. And I don't think the goaltender's too happy as one man returns to the ice, so it's only 1-man advantage. And there's a blast, and that just went high over the goal off the stick of Darren Fossen. In the corner, they tie it up. Just 45 seconds left in the second penalty. And a good job done by the penalty-killing unit, including Brian Harchie, as they force a face-off deep in the Jefferson zone.
I think the best scoring chance on that thing came with Bemiji on the short team, with Jason Meyer coming up with a loose puck in the neutral zone, walked in. I like the way Robbie Hansen played that breakaway. He was out, established himself, took a look at the shooter, backed in. Here we'll see it right now. He's out, playing this thing right. Backing off, going to the post. All right, very good. Didn't commit himself, cut the angle down, really played it well. That's the way you want to play a lone break.
And while we're talking about returning players, both Jefferson goaltenders, Hansen and Thane Hawkins, will be back next year. And both are good. Puck is kept in at the line. There's a shot right on goal off the stick of Condon. And with 3:21 remaining in the game, there's just 25 seconds left in the Jefferson man advantage.
It's been a tough day for Jefferson, but they had a great year, came through a tough schedule, played well in the tournament to get to the Consolation final. I think it was just a little bit, Chris, and let's not be premature because we know there's 3:21 left, but just a little bigger, stronger, more mature hockey club they're facing today in Bemidji.
Don't forget that coming up next, the third place game between Hibbing, and boy, were they hard luck last night. What an effort they put up against Hill Murray, only to lose 5-4. And Duluth Denfeld, one of the surprises of the tournament. That's a good hockey club coming down from Duluth, and that should be a good one in the third place game, a battle of northern teams. And tonight, of course, the big one is Hill Murray and Burnsville, as Bemidji returns to full strength as John Yetter comes out of the penalty box, and the Lumberjacks turn it up ice. Here they come, a pass on the right wing for Steve Savard. He couldn't reach it, but Palava has it in the zone. There's the wrist shot, and that went high. Bianchi the other way, just flips it out to center. On the right wing, Savard knocks it into the zone. Palava gives chase, and now Jefferson clears it out to center, and it was hit with a high stick and whistled down. There's a break in the action. We'll be right back with the Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament.
From the Beatles to the Boss, the best rock ever recorded. KJO 104 FM.
Brian Grand has been the coach in Bemidji for 10 years. This will be his first tournament trophy. Victory in the Consolation final, and again, back in 1974, Bemidji lost in the championship game to Edina. They were the runner-ups in 1974, so it's their first trophy since then. Jefferson's last state title came in '81. And now play whistle down as a few players crashed into the goal crease, and the net knocked off its mooring.
Yeah, David Fleming really went heavily into the boards. You know, Chris, remember the days when that standard would be up how many inches and that thing wouldn't move? And there's been some serious injuries. I think maybe when Mark Howe had that big injury, they started to look at the shorter standards, the magnetic field that hold it in place. That was a tough one where he just really hurt himself bad when he hit the inner part of the metal, metal base. Jefferson will have another opportunity in a power play as number 16, Rob Roberts, took, David Fleming pretty heavy into the net.
It was never mentioned at the time, but when Mark Howe recovered from that injury, they in fact informed us that he lost so much blood from the injury that he almost died, and that is why there was such alarm and why someone came up with the magnetic pins for the goal. And it certainly has cut down on injuries. Some critics say it causes more stoppages in play, but I think it's worth it. Save a few injuries along the way, especially at this level. Here's Gingler knocking it into the zone as Jefferson tries to get their power play organized. Todd Susan's been a workhorse all day. He'd like to get something going. Here's Peterson in the zone, knocked off stride, and Peterson just couldn't get a shot on goal from the slot. And now the puck cleared into the Bemidji bench with 1:28 left in the game, 1:23 in the penalty.
Geez, he shows a lot of maturity and poise for just being a sophomore. The way he came in, just shifted that guy with his feet wide apart, a good base, little fake shot, pulled it, went to his forehand. Just the guy spun him off the darn thing, or else he would have had I think he would have put that puck away. He's going to be a fine hockey player, and I know that Coach Saradon wants to build that team around Tommy Pettersson, and he's got some good defensemen coming back for his hockey club next year.
He had a power play goal in their victory over South St. Paul last night, and Peterson goes back to get it. Still full marks to Bemidji today. They have been the better hockey club. Gingler, his pass goes to Susan on the left wing. Susan takes a hit, slides it inside the line, and here they come. Gingler trying to get it out in front. There's the centering pass, and it went by Dave Flameng, and now here's a break the other way. Shooting Fossen, and the stop by Hansen, and Hansen came way out to challenge the defenseman Fossen, who has been a tower of strength on that defense for Bemidji all afternoon.
You know, Bobby Hansen took a little gamble in the sense that he said, well, his head's down and his stick is going up. He's got to shoot the puck, so I'm going to come out and cut this angle down. He didn't have a base in which to react. If you know, if Hansen would have just, you know, a little fake shot, excuse me, the Bemidji player would have faked the fake shot, gone to the outside, and he would have had a wide open net. But goalies read those cues of the shooter, and that's where they have to, you know, make their move on. Did that, played it well, came out well. He knew the player couldn't cut back at him because he had a back checker coming down the middle. So the only thing he's going to say is he going to fake the shot and go to the outside. If he does that, I'll take my chance. He guessed right on that one.
The Bemidji Lumberjacks 50 seconds away from their first consolation title ever. They clear it down into the Jefferson zone. 8-2 the score. Jaguars with 34 seconds left in their man advantage. They'd like to get one before the game ends. Reed Ganas ahead to Bianchi. Back to Ganas out in front. Olsen couldn't reach it, and it is cleared away by Tony Baker. Baker with a good burst of speed. Here's Tony Baker in on a break, and Hansen again dives out and poke checks the puck away. Puck is against the boards, and they tie it up for a face-off with just 19 seconds left in this 1986 consolation final.
I'll tell you, Tony Baker took Jeff Nelson hard in the boards. Big, strong kid, his senior. Rushed the puck well. They've got a lot of just solid type high school hockey players. And I can understand why they've had such a fine season up there.
This will be their 21st victory of the year in 26 starts. That's not too bad. Their losses came to Edina, War Road, Armstrong, and Hibbing. 4 excellent hockey teams in their own right. So
they weren't necessarily upset, I'll tell you that. They played a real tough schedule.
And the countdown is complete, and the Bemidji Lumberjacks are the consolation champions of 1986, and they did it in rather convincing fashion with an 8-2 victory over what was today an overmatched Jefferson team. The Jaguars were outplayed for the most part, at least from the second period on. And Brian Grand has cause to celebrate. Tom Satterdahl over to offering his congratulations. And it was certainly a well-played performance by Bemidji this afternoon.
I can't add anything on that, Chris. I think the better hockey club won. It was just a case of too much speed and too much strength and some real fine hockey players on top of some talent. Bemidji has a very good hockey club, and I like the way that they moved the puck around. I like their strength. I like the balance they had on their hockey club. They had some big guys, they had little guys, but they all played strong. They were just a bigger, stronger, better hockey club than Jefferson, but Jefferson is nothing to be ashamed of. They've had a good season. Getting the tournament is one thing. To win a couple games to get here, you know, or one game I should say, is good. They've had a great history. They've been in the tournament quite a bit over the last few years. They've won a state championship, got a fine team coming back, but today was Bemidji, and rightly so. I think they had the better ball club.
Interesting comment about Bemidji today. You said balance. For the first 2 games, they relied on one line. Today, everybody was doing it. Had they had that a little earlier in the tournament, who knows?
But maybe they're just saying we want their second and third units to maybe check tight, keep it even. We'll rely on our top group to score the goals. Who knows what their game plan was, but you know, to win 2 out of 3 ball games at this level is, you know, they had a heck of a tournament.
And this will end a high school career for George Palava that's been much talked about, and we certainly were glad to have him in the tournament. He was one of the great storylines of the tourney.
Oh yeah, I just couldn't take my eyes off things, man. Let's just say it won't be his last hockey game. He's got a, if he wants to pursue it and keep on going, he's just got a great future ahead of him. And if he pays the price, he'd go to the big leagues, and he'll have a fine college hockey career. He's going to a fine school. They've got demanding and good coaching up there at North Dakota. He's going to be a thorn in everybody's side in college hockey, I'll tell you that, Chris.
I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to the June draft for the National Hockey League, because he's going to go rather quickly, and it'll be interesting to see where he does go. Now let's go down for the presentation of the Consolation Final Trophies.
Ladies and gentlemen, the awards ceremony will be conducted by Don Faulkner of Sandstone, President of the Board of Directors of the High School League, Ken LaCroix of Hastings, and Mike Kuntz of Jackson. They'll be assisted by members of the Minnesota State High School League executive staff. Each member of the official tournament squads receives a certificate of participation. Plaques are presented to the 4th, 6th, 7th, and 8th place teams. Medals are awarded to each member of the official squads of the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place teams. And trophies are presented to the championship team, the 2nd place team, the 3rd place team, and the winner of this Consolation Championship game. Will the captain or captains of the Bloomington Jefferson team please come forward to receive their plaque? Now will the captain or captains of the Bemidji team please come forward to receive their consolation trophy. Congratulations to both teams. Reminder that the Bemidji High School Welcome Home will be tomorrow at 3 o'clock in the high school auditorium. But first, an escort will form at the Horace May Elementary School at 2:30 and then proceed to the auditorium.
All right, there you have it, the presentation of the Consolation Championship Trophy to the Bemidji Lumberjacks, and they certainly earned it this afternoon with an 8-2 victory. And we're standing by for the 3rd place game. That should be an interesting one as well. But right now, we're going down to Sports Control.
Okay, Chris, and thank you much, and thank you, Herbie. And like they said, I don't think there's any point in disputing who the better team was today. 8-2 for Bemidji, Tom.
Tony Parker standing by with Rob Stour of the winning Bemidji Lumberjacks.
Yeah, guys, and you know, it's fun to take hardware home, but I'm sure, Rob, you'd like to replay that first game when you got into this tournament.
Yeah. You know, that first game, it would be nice to get by so we could get into the second 2 games. You know, I think we would have played a little bit even harder, you know, to win the next games. But it's all right as long as we won the last 2. You know, Hibbing's a good team.
Well, you came back and got some hardware to take home.
Yeah.
All right, do you know that you're leading this tournament in total goals?
No, I didn't really.
You got 4. You got 7 points. You're second to George. So you guys are going to stay right there as far as total points.
Yeah.
Now, you played with Donnie last year, your brother.
Yeah.
Now, this year is a big one for you. What about Donnie? Is he going to be sitting back there waiting for you and say you didn't bring it home to me?
Well, I don't know. I suppose he will, you know. I'm sure he would like to have been here again, you know, just to do it all over again.
You won't be part of it, but this is a good club, and they'll come back, won't they?
What was that?
I say this is a good club, and they'll come back. The guys on the left.
That's right.
Robbie, good luck to you.
All right.
All right, back to you guys at Sports Control.
Okay, Tony. Rob had 7 points, and Tony Palava has now 8 points, and that's the most in this tournament since Todd Okerlund back in 1983 for Burnsville.
You could tell that he wasn't exactly real excited or happy at this point. He obviously wished he was playing in tonight's game, but even so, and they could have been a big victory for Bemidji.
I think a lot of people feel as they see Bemidji how good they are. Really, how good are they? They outscored their opponents 32-1 in the sectionals to get here, and they looked just that good today. They could have been in the finals. Well, this is live continuing coverage of the 1986 Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament.
Until this time, until this tape, you've never seen color this bold. A breakthrough in videotape technology. Color as if you were seeing it for the first time. The new Scotch EXG video cassette. Unsurpassed color. Guaranteed for your lifetime.
Available at Best Buy Company.
Good old creamy peanut butter's gone boppers. Gone crazy with chips. Got all rolled up and crisp. Peanut butter boppers. It's creamy peanut butter, a crispy coating, and a whole lot more. Peanut butter's gone boppers. Peanut butter boppers. New from Nature Valley. What a snack!
Performance. That's why more pros wear Bauer Supremes. Bauer's superior fit means better performance. With super feet, precisely aligning body weight to blade. Flow light, perfectly conforming to the ankle. And now the revolutionary new form-fit tongue, adding superb comfort. The new Bauer Supreme Custom 1000. The fit triangle is now complete.
How many times have you sat there and listened as radio stations try to sell you songs you don't want? Like Honey by Bobby Goldsboro.
And Honey...
Convoy by C.W. McCall.
Here's a rubber duck and I'm...
Or anything ever recorded by Jack Jones. Well, now W. Light plays only those songs you want to hear. Lionel Richie, Billy Joel, The Beatles, Whitney Houston, Phil Collins, and The Boss. And as part of this special TV offer, if you tune in W. Light right now, you can get a song by any of these artists absolutely free. So you don't forget, tune in before midnight tonight to W. Light 103 FM. That's Light Rock, Less Talk, W. Light 103 FM.
Well, 1 down, 2 games to go. Our consolation champions this year, Bemidji, by way of an 8-2 victory over Jefferson. Jefferson was trailing 5-1 heading into the third period, but they came back just 16 seconds into the period. Reed Ganoss fed a pass to senior Greg Wald in the slot, and he pulled the trigger. Look at it again, and at this point, it looked like with a 5-2 score, Jefferson had a chance to make a game of it, but it was not to be.
Well, anything could have happened at that point, but then just 20 seconds later, Tom, number 20, Scott Eichstad, fans on his first shot here, right there, and that brought the goaltender down, and then he flipped it up and over for a 6-2 lead for Bemidji, and so they were right back on top by 4.
In the 7-2 goal, David Smith, who had the winner last night, he tipped Darrell Fawson's shot. Just a few seconds later, goes in on the same side, and this one was all but over. 8-2 Bemidji, the final in the consolation championship game.
So Bemidji beats Jefferson, and let's take a look at the bracket now, as that's how the consolation series looks. As we go on to the third place game that's scheduled for 2:15, we're a little over that now. That's coming up shortly, and that'll be the 2 northern teams, Duluth Denfeld and Hibbing, and then of course tonight's championship game between Harold Murray and Burnsville. We hear from those 2 coaches a little bit later.
That's right. WCCO television production facilities have been provided in part by Hilltop Trailer Sales in Northeast Minneapolis, a leader in the RV business since 1951.
So the first trophy since 1974 of any kind for the Bemidji Lumberjacks. Our congratulations to them. The Palava and Peters, they'll both be gone. So will Darren, the defenseman, Darren Fawson. So they're going to lose some talent on that Bemidji team. Jefferson, very young. They could be back here next year, Tom.
Most of their kids back.
Really a lot of underclassmen on that team. So that's the final. 8-2 for Bemidji over Jefferson. For Tom Hanneman, this is Ralph John Fritz saying thank you for joining us, and stay tuned now for the third place game coming in.
Hockey 86 has been brought to you by Twin City Federal, where Minnesota banks. Tony's Frozen Pizza, the pizza to fall in love with. Chevrolet, who invites you to live the style, performance, and fun of Chevrolet in 86. General Mills Crispy Wheats and Raisins. There's never been a crisp like this.